Greetings, humans. It's me, Bob Harris, senior editor of FootballDiehards.com. Time for your Week 12 injury review, preview, update, overview. The thing we like to do every Saturday to help you catch up, to set the table, so to speak, to let you know what needs to be on your radar as you prepare to set your lineups. And it's an ongoing situation, right? It's a mess this week, in particular with the COVID situation on top of the injuries. A lot of moving pieces, so be sure to check back to the main page of the site. After you watch this video, look for the late breaking updates. I'm up through everything about noon Eastern time, so if you see updates after that, you know things have changed. Check the staff rankings. So if you're looking at a player who there's some question about, who I talk about, go check the staff rankings. It'll link to the latest information on that player if that information has changed from what I'm talking about. So we'll start with, the Thursday night game. The Ravens at the Steelers was postponed until Tuesday because the Ravens had an outbreak. I think they had over 10 people, players and staff on the COVID reserve list. So Lamar Jackson will not play. J.K. Dobbins will not play. Mark Ingram will not play. Those are things you need to know now, no matter what. If the game is played, those guys aren't playing. James Conner then tested positive, and I think they have 4 players and a coach who have tested positive now for the Steelers. So that's something to watch. Now, Conner, they're going to retest him, and if it was a false positive, he could still be cleared to play. So there's that. Also, there's more today. I mean, Jonathan Taylor added to the list. He will not play. So I'll get to that as I work through the games chronologically. But just realize, you're going to need to stay on top of all this stuff as we head into the Sunday games so you know what your lineup needs are. So I'll start out with the Sunday early afternoon window of kickoffs. And Christian McCaffrey was listed as questionable initially. He's still officially listed as questionable, but he's not playing, is not making the trip to Minnesota. Matt Rule was pessimistic all along, said he would likely not play. They have a week 13 bye, so expect him to return week 14. Mike Davis gets another run. Rodney Smith got some turns last week, so we'll see what happens there. On the other side of the ball, Adam Thielen on the reserve COVID list. We don't know if he tested positive or not. The early reporting was there was a positive test followed by a negative test. It's possible he could be cleared before Sunday's games. The reporting is that's unlikely to happen. Irv Smith Jr. is listed as doubtful, so expect him to not play in this game as well. So, and Teddy Bridgewater's fine. Revenge game time for him. He's good to go in a favorable matchup, right? So there's that. It's positive news. For the Atlanta Falcons hosting the Las Vegas Raiders, Todd Gurley is out. Brian Hill will get the start in his place. Knee issue for Gurley. Seemed to be something late last week, but Brian Hill's looked very good in short bursts this year. He looks very fast, so maybe he can get something done. Julio Jones listed as questionable. Seems like a real game time decision. Same with Hayden Hurst, who has an ankle injury. Calvin Ridley off the injury report. On the other side of the ball, everyone's off the injury report. Josh Jacobs was there briefly with a hip issue. No injury designation for him. The Los Angeles Chargers traveling to Buffalo to take on the Bills. For the Bills, no John Brown. Ankle injury coming off the bye, not good sign. Kalen Ballage listed as questionable. Ankle and calf injuries, worked on a limited basis all week. Austin Eckler resumed practicing this week. He's designated to return from IR. That means there's a 3-week window. If he is going to play this week, they have to elevate him to the active roster by 4 p.m. Eastern time today. They're not sure they're going to do that or not. And we don't really get a lot of good information on these players on their practice because they don't have to be on the injury report because they're not officially on the roster. There's a handful of them I'll go through. But we do know he is eligible to come off, and there's been no indication. Anthony Lynn said it's possible. So my guess is, though, if he's off, it's because they think he's ready to play. So take that into account. For the Miami Dolphins at the New York Jets, Tua Tagovailoa is listed as questionable. Jammed his left throwing thumb in practice on Wednesday. This seems like he's really questionable. Brian Flores was talking about watching the practice film to see if he's ready to go. Reporting early Saturday as they won't force him. This is not something they're going to force. If it's bothering him or if he's struggling to throw, they'll keep him out. Salvon Ahmed is out with a shoulder injury. Jakeem Grant is listed as questionable with a hamstring injury. Myles Gaskin, another one of those guys practicing this week. They're not sure if they're going to elevate him off IR. Not sure what he would do if they do. Matt Breida and Patrick Laird are the healthy running backs at this time. And just as I'm speaking these words, the Dolphins have downgraded Tua to doubtful. Ryan Fitzpatrick will be the starter for this game. So we have that. And watch out, again, Gaskin, just like Eckler, and others I'll talk about, they have to be elevated to the active roster or added to the active roster by 4 p.m. Eastern Time Saturday to be eligible to play tomorrow, unless it's the Monday night game. And I'll talk about that when I get to it. All right, so Tua Tagovailoa is now doubtful, will not play. Ryan Fitzpatrick gets the start again. So for the Jacksonville Jaguars hosting the Cleveland Browns, DJ Chark, Chris Conley, both out, ribs and hip injuries. Gardner Minshew will not play. Mike Glennon is getting the start after Jake Luton's 4 interception performance last week. He hits the bench. Dario Ogunbowale is listed as questionable in that one. The Patriots hosting the Cardinals. Larry Fitzgerald on the COVID reserve list along with Trent Sherfield. Neither of them will play in this game. The good news there, Kyler Murray's off the injury report. Has the shoulder issue. Worked on a limited basis all week, but he's off the injury report, so they feel like he can play. On the other side of the ball, N'Keal Harry, Ryan Izzo, the tight end, Nick Folk, the kicker, shoulder, hamstring, back, all listed as questionable. They've all been playing through these issues all week, the last couple of weeks. So I would expect them to do the same, but that'll be something to watch. Not that any of them have been major contributors for your fantasy teams, I hope. For the Cincinnati Bengals hosting the New York Giants, Joe Burrow, of course, done for the season. The expectation is Brandon Allen will get the start over Ryan Finley. Expect that to be the case until you hear otherwise. Don't know if you're playing either of those guys if they're playing, but it's of some interest to the other pieces in this offense. Gio Bernard, listed as questionable with a concussion, is expected to play. He practiced fully Friday, so seems to be progressing through the concussion protocol. On the other side of the ball, Caden Smith, reserve COVID-19 list, will not play. Sterling Shepard off the injury report. Colts, Jonathan Taylor will not play. Placed on the reserve COVID-19 list. Did not test positive, but was a close contact with his fiance, so he will have to isolate for 5 days and test negative throughout to return. Phillip Rivers listed as questionable with a toe injury. Sounds like he will play. Zach Pascal questionable with a knee and foot issues. Status uncertain for him. For the Titans, on the other side of the ball, Adam Humphries and Michael Pruitt both ruled out. Humphries still tried to work his way back from the concussion. Everyone else off the injury report there, in particular A.J. Brown, who has been dealing with a knee injury all season that he has been playing through, and so at times playing quite effectively, as you saw the touchdown catch last week. Hasn't been high in production, but there you have it. Late afternoon window. 49ers are a mess. So Brandon Ayuk's on the reserve COVID-19 list. He could be cleared, but Kyle Shanahan's saying that's unlikely. Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson eligible to come off the IR today. Kyle Shanahan says they likely will, and then they would be questionable to play. Jordan Reed questionable with a non-COVID apparently illness. Tevin Coleman ruled out. So Jerick McKinnon is the healthy running back right now on the roster. Remember, JaMychal Hasty's on IR. So my guess is they'll get Mostert back and he'll play, but that'll be something you have to watch. We'll get that update at 4 p.m. Eastern time set today, and then we'll follow that up right up through kickoff. But they seem optimistic about Mostert. For the Rams, the other side of the football, Tyler Higbee listed as questionable. Sounds like a true game time decision. Jerry Jeudy and the Denver Broncos hosting the New Orleans Saints. Jeudy is listed as questionable with ankles and Achilles injuries. He practiced Wednesday, did not on Thursday, limited Friday, so not sure. Deontay Spencer, the kick returner, placed on COVID-19 reserve, will not play. On the other side of the ball, Deontay Harris is listed as questionable with neck injury. A minor contributor, not a big deal, but something to watch for. Kansas City and the Buccaneers, no major injury issues. Tight end Tanner Hudson is ruled out, non-injury related. They're not saying it's COVID or what, it's just he's not playing. Sunday night's game. Nick Foles, doubtful with a hip injury. Mitchell Trubisky is back. He will get the start. David Montgomery off the injury report, cleared through the concussion protocol, will return to action. On the other side of the ball, good news, Devontae Adams off the injury report, limited a little bit during the week, has been dealing with the ankle issue. He's fine. Alan Lazard off the injury report, which is good news because Marquez Valdez-Scantling is on it, questionable with an Achilles issue that seemed to happen Thursday. He did not practice Friday, so we'll see what's going on. Equanimeous St. Brown, also questionable in that game with a knee injury. Robert Tonyan also off the injury report as well. I should mention that. So everyone basically off except Valdez-Scantling and Equanimeous St. Brown. They are both questionable. Monday night's game. Chris Carson is dealing with the foot issue. He's been out since like week 7. Seems like he's going to return this week. That's when you'll have to watch later today. The injury report later Saturday. The injury report will be out. Check that final injury report. I'll have updates in the late breaking updates section. Boston Scott on the other side of the ball is dealing with an abdominal issue. He's been limited. Seems likely he'll play. Zach Ertz, another one of those players eligible to come off IR. Doug Peterson, head coach, said Saturday morning that it probably won't be this week. It'll probably be next week. So expect that. So there you have it. Check back often. A lot of things changing. We'll be watching that Ravens-Steelers game to see if they even pull it off. Also, the league sent out a league-wide memo saying no contact for anybody. So all the teams are shutting down their facilities Monday and Tuesday, except for the Monday night game teams and the Tuesday game teams. They'll be allowed to do their things. But all the other 30 teams, they're all shutting down just to try to spread any potential outbreaks or quell any potential outbreaks coming off the Thanksgiving holiday. So there we have it. It's exciting times we live in, people. Get ready, win, check the main page of the site, late breaking updates, check the staff rankings, latest information there. If there's anything huge, we'll put it on the splash page to this video, but check that the late breaking updates. That'll clue you in, watch the headlines, and check all your players of interest that I've talked about on the staff rankings to get the link to the latest information. Also, tons of other content up as usual, columns and videos. The podcast is up. So check everything out. John Law, Brad Cruz, Kyle Dvorak, Justin Lanero, Gary Davenport, Matthew Sharon, Evan Tarciano. Everyone's got their things up. So get after it. Jason Brady on the video end as well. So and also watch the pregame show. We have that up. I think it's 9 a.m., 10 a.m. Eastern time. I should check so I don't steer you wrong. I think we're doing. I live in too many time zones. Yes, the game day video will be 10 a.m. Eastern time, so be there for that. And also tune into SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio Saturday night, 8 to 11 p.m. Eastern time on SiriusXM NFL and Fantasy Sports Radio. The Football Diehards show will be on. We'll be talking about a lot of these issues today. Check in the pregame show with myself and Jeff Manns tomorrow from 11 to 1. Also, you can check us out every weeknight, too, on there as well. Football Diehards show and Fantasy Dirt. That's it. I'm Bob Harris. Over now. Good luck, everybody. We're going to need it.